Hare Krishna. Can you hear my voice? Am I audible? Okay, let's start. Namo Vishnupadaaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for joining today's session. We have been discussing from the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So yesterday we completed the fourth chapter, which was titled as the activities of Rishabhadev. I'll do a quick recap and then we will start with the fifth chapter. So it is mentioned that the ministers, now we are talking about King Anga. Anga has begotten sons, the eldest of whom was, uh, he begot Rishabhadev, who is the son of Anga. Sorry, not Anga. I've been repeating Anga for some reason. Nabi. I'm sorry. Yesterday also I made the same mistake. Today also I'm making the same mistake. Somehow I kind of am confusing myself with Anga and Nabi because somehow they sound very similar to me. So he was the son of Nabi, and because Nabi ruled the Bharatavarsha, Nabi offered that to Rishabhadev. And after, of course, before, while Nabi was ruling, it was called as Samadar Varsha. Then, according to, by the name of Rishabhadev, it was named as Ajanaba Varsha. Varsha that belonged to the one who was born out of Nabi. And then subsequently, when he will hand over this to Bharat Maharaj, it will be named as Bharata Varsha because of his extraordinary rule and governance. So the ministers, citizens, Brahmanas, and Devatas, they greatly desired that this son Rishabhadev, who had displayed the qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right when he was born, and this only increased day by day, his qualities, his powers, detachment, sense control, everything increased day by day. They all desired that, he's ready to rule. Rishabhadev is ready to rule. Because of his excellent body, uh, praised by many poets, his mental and physical strength, his beauty, fame, influence, and courage, his father called him as Rishabha, the best amongst all human beings. Indra, out of envy, he stopped the rain from falling on his particular Varsha. Rishabhadev just smiled, and by his power of yoga, he poured rain on his state, which was later named as Ajanaba Varsha after him. Nabi, now that his desire was fulfilled to beget a son, a qualified son, who would take over the kingdom, he decided to retire and take up to the life of a Vanaprastha because he wanted to set the right example for his citizens. Uh, of course, this was after raising him very nicely. So then he subsequently entrusted Rishabhadev in the hands of the Brahmanas, and they took up to, along with his wife, Nabi, took up to the Vanaprastha life and went to Badrikashram and worshipped Narnarayan Rishi and attained perfection of going back home, back to Godhead. In this context, we were discussing yesterday that these ashramas, they play a very critical role. Particular varna and particular ashramas, they play a very critical role in the gradual progress the gradual progress of people on the gradual path, for the people on the gradual path. Okay. But for those on the path of bhakti, these principles do not as it is apply. The principle that applies is anukulyasya sankalpo pratikulyasya varjanam. So if a particular way of life is suitable for that particular person to practice bhakti nicely, then he accepts it. So we were discussing that these vanaprastha ashrama or even brahmachari ashram and the sannyas ashram also we were discussing yesterday, that they are all in one sense like kind of adaptations for, for sometimes for preaching purposes. Sometimes we call it as vanaprastha, but it is not exactly vanaprastha. And we were discussing the differences that generally in the traditional Vedic system, the the movement of the ashramas is one way only. There is no two way. It's not like grahastha can become a brahmachari again, or a sannyasi can become a vanaprastha or a grahastha again. These are like socially unacceptable, and also these become a very big obstacle to their progress. But on the path of bhakti, the main principle is anukulyasya sankalpo pratikulyasya varjanam. Because the the path of emancipation of the devotees is not through the system of varna and ashrama. The path of emancipation is through the practice of bhakti. So for those who may be practicing bhakti, they have to accept what is favorable and reject what is unfavorable, even though it may not be exactly according to the traditional Vedic system. Okay. But having said that, we were discussing the other day, yesterday, that it is important to consider Lokasangraha considerations. Our actions should not unnecessarily create a kind of disturbance in the society, in the society of devotees and also in the greater society outside. It should not create unnecessary disturbances. That we have to be very careful. Okay, that we were discussing. Okay, then they were glorifying Parikshit, Rishabhadev. Nabi. They glorified King Nabi by telling, "Oh, what man could follow King Nabi, for whom the Lord became his own son?" And how did the Lord become his own son? Because of his proper execution of pure bhakti. Then they said, who other than King Nabi was affectionate to the Brahmanas? The Brahmanas, pleased with his charity, revealed to him the Lord by the power of their bhakti during the sacrifice. Like that, they would glorify Maharaj Nabi. Now, coming back to Rishabhadev also performed karma very diligently. He lived in Gurukula because he wanted to teach others, his citizens, of the importance of staying in Gurukula and learning. And then he taught the path of household life, Grahastha life, by accepting Grahastha life and engaging in activities according to the Shruti and Smriti Shastras as instructed by Brahmanas. Then in his wife Jayanti, he begot a son. He begot 100 sons who were similar to himself. Okay. So, and among his sons, Bharat Maharaj was the eldest. He was a great yogi and he had amazing qualities. And because of him, this planet eventually became known as, or this Varsha eventually became known as Bharata Varsha. Younger than Bharata, but the elder to others were nine of his younger brothers were known as Kushavrata, Ilavrata, Brahmavarta, Malaya, Ketu, Bhadrasena, Indrasprik, Vidarbha, and Kikata. These were all his younger brothers. So these 10 of them were actually Kshatriyas, even though uh, amongst them, Bharat Maharaj was, uh, you know, Rajarshi. So in addition to these 10, the next 9 were the Navayogendras, Kavi, Havi, Antariksha, Prabuddha, Pippalayana, Avirhotra, Drumila, Chamasa, and Karabhajana. They were all very exalted, advanced devotees. And Shukadeva Goswami says, I will describe about their activities and teachings in the 11th canto. Then after that, there were 81. The next 81 were actually, uh, they were all qualified Brahmanas. Okay. They were very pure in their activities and they became perfectly qualified Brahmanas. Uh, and Rishabhadev was independent and eternally free from the succession of material changes. He was full of bliss. He was the sole controller. But just like an ordinary jiva, he performed his prescribed activities and taught dharma, which was destroyed by the passage of time. Okay, like that. So, yeah, whatever is performed by the best person is followed by the common people. Yadyada acharati shreshtas tat devetaro jana. Though he knew the essence and the secret of the Vedic literatures, hmm, he still ruled the people according to the path shown by the Brahmanas in order to set the right example for the people in general, that do not live your life whimsically and independently, take guidance from the Brahmanas. So even though Rishabhadev was capable of instructing all the Brahmanas, he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. What to speak of instructing, was capable of giving shelter to all the Brahmanas. But nevertheless, he took guidance from the Brahmanas in order to set the right examples for the people in general, that they should also live their life according to the guidance of the Brahmanas. He worshipped by performing sacrifices according to instructions dedicated to various devatas 100 times with abundant ingredients, proper place and time, youth, faith, and peace. And when Rishabhadev ruled the planet, actually it was such an extraordinary rule that no citizen in his kingdom ever desired any false objects by taking from others. They did not desire anyone else's possessions. Everyone constantly accepted Rishabhadev as the greatest object of their affection and with their whole self. Once, while traveling, Rishabhadev arrived at Brahmavarta, which is one of the parts of the Bharatavarsha. And there he taught his attentive sons, who were all self-controlled and filled with obedience and devotion, in an assembly of the best Brahmanas and sages. While the citizens listened, he spoke as follows. Prashraya Pranayabara, filled with obedience and devotion. Actually, this is very critical for imparting any teachings or knowledge. We have to see whether the other person is expecting to learn from us. And unless the other person is expecting to learn from us, it is very ideal to keep quiet. One should not just be very eager to give when there is no eagerness to take. That will not be properly appreciated. That will not be properly appreciated. So the most important thing in the imparting of knowledge is the eagerness from the receiver to receive it. That should always be greater than the eagerness on the giver to give. Not that he should not have eagerness, but then that eagerness should manifest only when there is eagerness shown from the receiver. Otherwise, one should be quite happy, satisfied in practicing what one has learnt and realized. And only when there is great eagerness shown by the receiver to receive knowledge, not just receive knowledge, but receive knowledge from us. And when they clearly show, um, you know, obedience and devotion. I mean, not that we want them to be obedient to us, but we don't want their obedience, but their showing of their willingness to show obedience is a sign that what you speak may be taken in the right sense and it will be useful knowledge. It may be properly assimilated. But if that is not there, then one should not be very eager to share knowledge. Okay, so this is where we ended our discussion yesterday. So today we will continue. Let us continue. Let us start with the fifth chapter, Teachings of Rishabhadev, very important chapter. Very beautiful verses, often quoted by our acharyas, including Srila Prabhupada. So this chapter is titled as Rishabha Instructs His Sons. So for the next 3-4 days, till Friday, I'll be in Chowpatty, so I'll be ending the session early. Maximum by 8:15, I will have to end the session. We may have shorter sessions and shorter discussions after the session because I don't wish to miss the morning Bhagavatam sessions in the temple. And also, another thing is that tomorrow morning, 7:15, there will be directly Srila Prabhupada's purport session by Radha Pramod Prabhu because I have morning Bhagavatam class at Radha Gopinath temple at Chowpatty. So that is another thing. So yeah, so just note down. So 8:15 sharp, I will have to end. Whatever questions are there left over, we will take it the next day. So Rishabhadev's teachings starts with this famous verse. Nayam deho deha bhajam nriloke. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. Nayam deho deha bhajam nriloke. Kashtan kaman arhate vidbujam ye. Tapo divyam putra kayena sattvam. Shuddye dyasmat brahma saukyam tvanantam. Okay. So here, Shri Rishabhadev, he says, Deha bhajam, the jiva who accepts body, na ayam nriloke dehaha arhate. He should not use his human body, kashtan kaman, for enjoying objects which eventually give suffering. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaye evate, adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. So, the first teaching that Rishabhadev gives to his sons is that Deha bhajam, the jivas who possess bodies, material bodies, na ayam driloke dehaha kashtan kaman arhate. They should not use this material body for enjoying objects which eventually give suffering. Eventually give. Why? Adyantavanta kaunteya. Because that pleasure has a beginning and it has an end. Okay. And once that ends, then we are left to lament. Adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Kashtan kaman. Vidbujam ye. And that kind of pleasure is available even to the pigs. The pigs may not have that kind of pleasure in a very sophisticated way like the human beings. Okay. But nevertheless, the nature of the enjoyment is the same. The nature of the enjoyment is the same. Ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanyametat pashubir naranam. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubir shamana. Yeah. Eating, mating, defending, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending is there in all the species. Okay. But that which distinguishes the human species from any other species is actually dharma. And dharma according to one's adhikara, qualification. So that dharma, the principle of dharma is there only in the human form, no other form. So therefore, one who has a human form should not be utilizing the body ex- uh, exclusively for ahara, nidra, bhaya, and maitunam, which is available even for the pigs. So then he says, O Putraka, O my dear sons, tapo divyam. He should perform austerity for attaining the Lord. Divyam tapaha. Not just austerities, but useful austerities. Austerities that will lead one to divyam, a transcendental destination. Yena sattvam shuddhyet, by which the heart becomes purified. Tapo divyam yena sattvam shuddhyet, yasmad, and by that purification of heart by the practice of bhakti, Brahma Saukyam to Anantam. It leads to infinite happiness in relationship with the Lord. So here the word Brahma Saukyam does not refer to the bliss of Brahman realization. Brahma Saukyam means the happiness in relationship with the Lord. So Rishabhadev's first teaching is that now that you have a human form of life, this human form of life should not be wasted in Ahara Nidra, Bhaya and Maitunam, which are available even to the pigs. He should perform tapasya, but not whimsical tapasya. Divyam tapaha. Divyam tapo. Tapo divyam. He should perform austerity for attaining the Lord. Yena sattvam shuddhyet, by which his heart becomes purified. Yasmad, and from such a purified heart, Brahma Saukyam to Anantam, he experiences infinite bliss in relationship with the Supreme Lord. So here, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, in the 5th chapter, after giving instructions on bhakti to the Lord, to his sons and citizens, Rishabhadev makes Bharata the king. This is the summary of this chapter. He goes to the forest and shows the conduct of a dumb man. It was mentioned in the previous chapter that Rishabhadev gave instructions. In order to establish Bhakti Yoga, he first says that material enjoyment should not be practiced as the goal in life for a person with a human body. Material enjoyment should not be the goal of life. One should not have desires which give trouble, such as seeing or touching a woman. Why? These desires are available in the pig body also. By enjoying material objects, the human body becomes equal to that of the pig. One should strive in the human body for what is not available in the pig body. That is dharma. That is actually that dharma is bhakti. That is actually bhakti. Not deha dharma, but dharma of the soul, jaiva dharma. Austerity is the distinguishing characteristic of the human beings. Austere, which means what is austerity? That which gives immediate pleasure, we try to avoid that which gives immediate pleasure and try to uh, aspire for that which gives a greater long-lasting pleasure. Which means what is the kind of austerity means farsightedness. That is what is austerity. So you cannot say it is austerity which defines the human beings if there is no proper understanding of austerity. What is austerity? Austerity indicates far-sightedness. That is austerity. Okay. And austerity indicates uh, some level of sattva guna. Whereas the animals are predominantly in raja and tamo guna. Austerity indicates sattva guna. Why? Because austerity means willingness to tolerate that which gives immediate pleasure to aspire for a more tangible pleasure which may not be immediately available. Okay. And and that is austerity. And that farsightedness is there in human beings. And that farsightedness is displayed in the form of austerity. However, the trees also perform austerity of not eating and tolerating the rain and sun. So you may say that the trees also engage in austerity. So therefore, such things are excluded by saying that this austerity is related to the Lord. Divyam. Tapo divyam. It is spiritual austerity. Tapo divyam putraka. O sons, the suffix ka indicates compassion for them. By this austerity, the antakarana becomes purified. Yena sattvam shuddhyed. Yasmad Brahma Saukyam Tvanantam. Okay, that is the first teaching. Nayam deho deha bajam niloke kashtan kaman arhate vidbujam ye. Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhyed yasmad Brahma Saukyam Tvanantam. Then, in the next verse, he says, Mahatsevam dwaramahur vimuktes tamodvaram yoshitam sangi sangam. Mahantaste samachitta prashanta vimanyavas suhridas sadavoye. Ahuhu. It is said that Mahat Sevam, service to saintly persons, Dwaram is the cause, Vimuktehe, of the two types of liberation. Okay. Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimukte. How does one get that bhakti? That bhakti comes through Mahat Seva, service to saintly persons. That is the cause of the two types of liberation. Vimuktehe. Whereas, in contrast to that, Yoshitam Sangi Sangam, association with men who associate with women, Tamodvaram is the cause of bondage. Associating with womanizers is more contaminating than associating with women because are the opposite sex, or we are talking about illicit connection with the opposite sex. Why? Because illicit connection with women may create some sense of guilt, or any sinful activity may create a sense of guilt. But if you have the association of those who are womanizers or who engage in other such sinful activities, it kills that guilt. Because when others are doing the same, it creates a sense of validation. And when that guilt is gone, then one can happily engage in that activity without being troubled by that guilt. Okay. So therefore, here he says that Yoshitam Sangi Sangam, rather than telling Yoshit Sangha, he says Yoshitam Sangi Sangam, the association of those who associate with women. That becomes the cause of bondage to this material world. Te Mahantaha, the impersonalist. So by using of the word Mahantaha, he is going to use it in two different ways. Okay. Te Mahantaha Samachittaha. Who are these Mahat Sevam? When we say Mahat Sevam Dwaram, by serving the Mahats, it opens the door of liberation. Now you have to define who is the Mahat. What is the definition of Mahat? Mahantaste samachittaha prashanta vimanyavaha suhridaha sadavoye. Okay. So who are these Mahantas? The impersonalists is one kind of Mahanta. He sees no differences and he is peaceful. Whereas the devotee Mahanta, for him, Samachittaha means a sincere heart or a compassionate heart or an empathetic heart. So he is Samachittaha. So why is a devotee called as a Samachitta? Because he sees that just like I am suffering, the others will also suffer. Just like I am feeling hungry, the other person may also be feeling hungry. Just like I suffer when someone speaks harsh words to me, similarly others will also suffer when I speak harsh words to them. In this way, he is able to empathize or sympathize with their suffering by connecting it to his own suffering. So that is the meaning of Samachitta. Samachitta means he is able to see uh, others mhm, as himself. And Prashanta. Prashanta means peaceful for an impersonalist. Prashanta also means his intelligence is fixed in me. That is Prashanta. Because Savai Pumsam Parodharmo Yato Bhaktiradokshade Ahaituki Apratihata Yayatma Suprasidati. The complete satisfaction of the heart and the soul is possible only by surrendering to Krishna. Okay, so that is the meaning of Prashanta. And both these types of saintly persons, the impersonalists are the Jnani and the Bhakta, Vimanyavaha, they are devoid of anger, Suhridaha, they are friendly to all, and Sadavaha, they do not see the faults in others. They do not see the faults in others. So here he is talking not about Mayavadis, he is talking about the Jnana Yogis, whose practice may have an element of bhakti. Okay. So, from the human body, one can gain deliverance or fall down. So that is, the human body is like the juncture. It's like a junction from which you can choose the direction in which you can go. The choice is not available in the other forms. The choice is available only in human form. The cause for both lies in the human body. Association with the saintly is the door to different types of liberation. It was mentioned in the previous verse that one attains the infinite happiness of Brahman. Yasmat Brahma Saukyam Tvanantam. The Brahman has two types, impersonal and personal. Thus, the word vi indicates a variety of liberations. Vimuktehe means Vividha Muktehe, many types of liberation. One can be merging in the Brahma Jyoti, another is becoming an associate of the Lord. Mahantaha also means two varieties of saints, worshippers of the impersonal Brahman and worshippers of Bhagavan. Their differing qualities are also described in double language. This is the explanation of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Samachittaha means one who sees no differences. This is the impersonalist. Or Samachittaha means one whose heart is sincere, which is the devotee. Prashantaha means one who is peaceful, and the devotee whose intelligence is fixed in the Lord. So this first meaning of Prashanta is for the impersonalist, second is for the devotees. Shamo madnishtata buddhehe. Shama means intelligence fixed in me. I think in the 11th canto, Krishna says, 11th canto, 11:19:36. Vimanyavaha suhridas sadavaha means the same meaning for the impersonalist and the devotee. Sadavaha means those who do not see fault in others. Okay, like that. Okay, it has reached 100, so we have to share the YouTube link. I somehow felt that there won't be 100 today, so even though I remembered, I didn't share. I thought maybe, we will not have 100 participants today, somehow I felt, but still, okay. Okay, so these are the two verses that we saw today. As I told you, 8:15 for the next few days. 8:15 is the deadline for me. I'll have to go and attend morning Bhagavatam class in the temple. So any quick discussion points, comments, questions, anything anyone would like to share, add? Any we could take some, if there are any unanswered questions from yesterday, we can take, or if any questions from today's discussion also we can take. Okay, there is something in the chat box. Let's take them first. In the present society, what can a grihastha do to move into vanaprastha after 15 years? Similarly, what change he has to enter sannyas from vanaprastha? In the present society means, I am presuming that the greater society, not exactly ISKCON, or not exactly the Bhakti. I am presuming that the greater society, what people can do to enter into vanaprastha life after reaching 50, after reaching 50 years. The first thing is that this decision should be taken by the parents. This decision should be taken by the parents, that my son should be a proper practitioner. So it starts from there. So the parents should properly perform the samskaras for the child, so that the child's whatever innate nature gets nourished, and then subsequently he should be encouraged to follow his prescribed duties properly as a grihastha. Okay. When he engages in his prescribed duties properly, he engages in a profession that is exactly according to his varna, then that purification happens. Then hopefully, if sufficient purification has happened when he has reached 50 or 60, whatever it may be, then he may choose to take up to the vanaprastha life, and provided his wife also is similarly inclined and similarly progressing, and they both can go to maybe something like a holy place, which is kind of uh, not away from materialistic things, and then they may practice some um, what do you call, austerities as given in the Dharma Shastras. First thing, they will also have to learn properly the Dharma Shastras very diligently. And also the male should go to a Gurukul and learn. So these all are there. And in today's day and age, how practical these things are is very highly questionable. It's not that these facilities are not there, but they are not very widely available. They are not very widely available. Okay, like that. And the same thing applies for sannyas to vanaprastha to sannyas also. Okay, there is another question in the chat box. But in preaching to new people, eagerness of the preacher is always far more than that of the receiver. See, I'm not telling that the preacher should not have eagerness to share, but more than eagerness to share, there should be eagerness to know if the recipient has the appetite to receive. Uh, if not, the preacher's eagerness should be directed towards creating that appetite, uh, rather than just the eagerness to share. Okay. So if the appetite is not there, then whatever one may share uh, uh, may not be properly received. Or sometimes there may be some inimical tendencies created in that person if he does not have sufficient uh, eagerness to receive. So, like someone had sent me I think it was there in their status or something like that. They said one boy asked his uncle or father, what is the most important ingredient in a recipe or in a meal, something like that. Uh, and the father said, hunger or appetite. Okay, that is the most important. Uh, that is the most important ingredient. If that is not there, then whatever, if we may cook the most exquisite meal, but it will not be properly received. Okay, there is another okay, I have already shared the YouTube link in this thing, I think. Yeah, I've already shared the YouTube link. A sadhaka in due course becomes detached from the material aspects of life, but when he joins as a full-time devotee, he may get attached to name, fame, position, etc. in the spiritual life. How can we understand this? Yeah, I mean, that's what, it may not be real detachment, because detachment should be a natural byproduct of a higher taste. Uh, so when there is no active impetus or endeavor to develop that higher taste, if we just, uh, we may not call it as real detachment actually. It's just that they thought that I will be better situated in the as a full-time devotee to practice bhakti. But eventually, over a period of time, because they may not be attentive enough to cultivate the higher taste, they may get attached to the lower taste, which even living as a full-time devotee may give, you know, very easy access to name, fame, glorification, etc. So, therefore, attentive devotional service is very important. Good, and for attentive devotional service, the most critical thing is good association, meaningful association, and in meaningful association, there should be meaningful interactions. So, when we have meaningful interactions with meaningful association of Vaishnavas, then definitely it is possible to not get so much attracted to name, fame, glorification like that. Okay, some hands up. Okay, yes, Leela Manjari Mataji.
Prabhu, can you put little light on this? Sadhava means those who do not see faults in others.
Little light means what you want me to do, Mataji.
We are also we are trying to be sadhakas, but
Mm.
we sometimes it happens that we see faults in others. Definitely, I'm not saying I'm sadhava, but how to really achieve that stage and how to.
There has to be a conscious endeavor to not find fault, you know, to develop that quality, as Srila Rupa Goswami says um, in Nectar of Instruction, that uh, Shushrushubis Bhajana Vigyam Ananyam Anya Nindadi Shunya Hridam Ipsita Sangalabdya. He says that what is the characteristic of a Uttamadhikari? He says his heart is completely free of the desire to criticize others. Okay. So, which means someone who is not yet an Uttamadhikari, he may not have a heart which is naturally free from the desire to criticize others. So we may have the desire, as long as we are either Madhyamadhikaris or sometimes Kanishtadhikaris, the desire to criticize others will be there. That natural quality of not wanting to criticize others may not be there actually. But having said that, everything comes by practice. Uh, that is what Krishna says. If something does not come naturally to you, then practice it. So if and we do that, you know, certain things do not come naturally to us, but we know that this is good for my material life. Studying no one likes, but they know that if I study, then I will get a good job. If I get a good job, then I will get good salary. Then I can live a comfortable life. So even though 99.99% of people don't like to study or don't like what they are studying, but they study. So in the same way, as sadhakas, in the beginning stages, not finding fault with others is not something which may naturally come to us, but there has to be a conscious endeavor to follow it because it is good for our spiritual health. So, you know, uh, yeah, even in the material world, we do, given a choice, I think many people may want to eat junk food 3 times a day, but they won't eat because they know that it is not good for their health. So they may just save it for the weekend. One day in the evening, they may go and eat some junk food and come. Even though they like junk food more than the plain food that may be cooked every day, but they know that if I have to maintain my health, then I will have to avoid doing certain things. So in the same way, we understand that the desire to criticize will go away later, but
Mm-hmm.
we cannot that will gradually only go away. But even though the desire may be there, a conscious endeavor to avoid acting on that desire, that has to be cultivated. uh,
Mm-hmm.
we have to keep on telling our mind that no, 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 it is not good for my spiritual health. This will not please my guru. This will not please Krishna. So yes, even though I have critical uh, thoughts about that person, but I will not act on it like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank
Okay, Mother Gail.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Can I see the slide for the second verse, please?
Yeah, you mean the verse itself or the translate or the purport?
The verses. Yeah, this. No, next one. Right? Number
This is the
two.
second verse.
Yeah, yeah. So my question is about the fact that the same words, it says in the middle there, the impersonalist sees no differences,
Yeah,
samachita, right?
yeah, yeah,
And then has a sincere, and then samachitaha, the devotee has a sincere heart, samachitaha. So samachitaha, it means the same word means different things, huh?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so samachitaha, when it's describing the impersonalist, means that he sees no differences. But
Yeah,
samachitaha, when it's describing the devotee, means
indicates
that
a
he
sincere
has
heart.
a sincere heart and his intelligence is fixed in me and all of it. Okay,
Yeah,
so I just need to confirm that. Okay, thank you.
correct. Radhika Rati Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavad.
Dandavat.
Prabhuji, this is a question is regarding Navi. Navi has been asking, desiring for the son like Supreme God. But then the priests are condemning that, like they're criticizing. He could have asked something like Swarga or liberation, but he's asking this. So they're criticizing. Is there a difference of Navi desiring someone, son like a Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Devaki and Vasudev desiring Supreme Personality of Godhead?
Well, not uh, not really. Devaki and Vasudeva were eternal parents of Krishna.
Mhm.
Whereas Nabi is very likely a sadhana siddha. He is also a pure devotee only.
Mhm.
Uh, and it is very clearly indicated here. And the
So,
priest,
mhm.
um, it is just a way of uh, creating a favorable mood in the heart of the Lord, that they are seemingly criticizing Nabi. They are not exactly criticizing Nabi. Uh, this is one understanding. So it's just like, I gave the example of when a boy is playing and he breaks the window while playing cricket, and the neighbor comes to the house with great anger, and the father immediately he starts, you know, uh, hitting his boy and chastising him and you know angrily shouting at him. When the neighbor sees that, he feels little bit sympathetic and he says, hey, no, 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 look, boys, they always play like this, you should not be doing this, like that. So it's just to create, because when the father chastises when the father beats, it's good. If the neighbor comes and chastises and beats, it's not so good. So the priests, they had like uh, uh, that kind of a relationship with Nabi. So they seemingly criticized him, but that is not exactly a criticism. That kind of seeming criticism is only to invoke some compassion from the heart of the Supreme Lord. That's all. So it's not exactly criticism. So this is one understanding. That even though there is nothing to criticize in what Nabi desired, because he was a pure devotee. Or another understanding um, is that actually the priests were actually not pure devotional. They had some mixed desires, so they could not completely relate with the request of Nabi. They misunderstood the request of Nabi to be not so glorious. Okay, that is also possible, but either is not very clearly and explicitly mentioned in the commentaries by the Acharya. So we can say it could be one of the two. But eventually, the verse itself says that the Lord came and fulfilled the desire of Nabi for three reasons. One is because he was very pleased with the priests, and second is because he was very pleased with King Nabi, and the third reason that is given is uh, in the form of Rishabhadev, he wanted to establish the dharma for the Avadut renunciates. So for these three reasons, the Lord came and fulfilled that desire, like that it is mentioned.
Okay. Thank you, Prakash.
Hare Krishna. Mamta Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, actually, we just had a question related to the talking about other devotees or criticizing other devotees.
Yeah.
Uh, how do we draw a line that in a temple premises or in community we would be having certain things which requires improvement, and it's not like we would discuss directly with the devotee, but this is like a lot of churning within your own family that you are, yes, this is something that can be improvised in our temple, and this is not something that we should make it standardized like this. So how do we draw a line between criticizing other devotees and also that concern about other services that could be streamlined?
Yeah. If the concern is genuine, then it is definitely all right, no problem. As long as the expression of that uh, so far, but the only thing is we have to take care of a few things while expressing that concern. We should ensure that we don't have malice towards that devotee about, it is that, we don't have malice towards the devotee. It is just a genuine concern to improve. The second thing is that we may not have malice, but the way we present it should not also create malice in the heart of the person to whom we are communicating. Okay. That also, he should also take it in the right sense. And the third thing is that, there should be uh, some productive outcome that should come out of that discussion. It should not be merely you see whomever you see, you're expressing it while they have nothing to do with that improvement at all. So these are few things if we should take care while discussing these things. Not that we should not discuss about improvement. We should. But in discussing the improvements, we should consider these things.
Prabhuji, in that case, many a times it happens that definitely the discussion would begin just to resolve that concern that one would have. But sometimes what happens is that it would not go as per your plan. right? And when it does not go as per your plan, when the other person does not take that in a proper way, or it's our own problem that it's Krishna's will, something would happen in a different manner. At that point of time, it turns out to be like, it is not a malice directly, but it it thinks like, okay, this is not going to be changed and this person may not accept it, and things like that comes into your mind, and that would also lead to aprad, right?
Yeah, if you see that the other person is not inclined to take the suggestion, then we should not be giving the suggestion. We
Yes.
should stop immediately. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We should not have the outcome in mind already. We should be
Mm-hmm.
flexible enough to accept whatever. We should be willing to be flexible to uh, adjust according to the way it goes. If he is eager to learn and change, then you share. If there is no eagerness to learn and change, then immediately you stop. So that not that you have a preconceived result in mind that I will tell him and he will change it and everything will be perfect. No, that kind of an expectation should not be there when we approach.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Prabhuji. But that happens both ways. Whether you tell and you discuss, or you just start the discussion, even if you don't tell, that preconceived notion that this is not going right, just remains in your mind, Prabhuji. So you're saying that needs to be withdrawn. It should not.
Yeah,
The concern should not turn into framing that person to be like that in your mind.
yeah. The point is we should say that we can see it in our case also. It's not that we don't want advice, but sometimes when some people give advice, we don't want to take. Has it ever happened in your life like that?
Many times, Rosie. Yes, initially many times it's hard to accept, but later on, when you're,
No,
yeah,
no. What I'm telling is not that you don't want to take advice, but it's
yes,
not that you want to take advice from anyone and everyone, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So if someone whom we value and respect a lot, when they give advice, we want to eagerly take up. But someone whom we may not respect and value so much, when they give advice, we may not take it that seriously. Okay, that's correct or
Mm-hmm.
not? So
Yes, Prabhu.
similarly for that person, it is not that he does not want to take advice, but maybe we don't fall in that category where he values our stature, our position, and our relationship with him or her to such a degree that he considers our advice very valuable. So it is not that he needs to be blamed. Probably we can at least give him the benefit of doubt that maybe, uh, it's not that he does not want to take advice. Maybe I'm not the right person to give that advice.
Okay. Yes. Understood, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Dhanut Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Okay, there is one last question and then we will end here. What it means by productive outcome? So productive outcome means by discussing that there must be some positive change. It should not that you just discuss about the problem, but there is no positive solution that is coming out of it. Okay, there is only some discussion of the problem, but there is no productive outcome in terms of solution. If that is not there, uh, then it's a problem. If that is not there, then mere discussing is not very good. Like that. Okay, I think we'll pause here. We'll continue this discussion tomorrow. Thank you all very much for your patient listening and your enthusiastic participation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.